Zelos Podcast is sponsored by Kinetic IQ, where intelligence meets motion. Kinetic IQ brings a biomechanics lab into the palm of your hand, letting you measure movement anytime, anywhere, with just an iPad or an iPhone, and no wearables required. I've been using Kinetic IQ's markerless motion capture in my own practice, and whether you're screening athletes, analyzing posture and gait mechanics, optimizing performance, or guiding return to play, it helps practitioners like us save time, capture more objective data, and make instant actionable decisions. So to learn more about how Kinetic IQ is shaping the future of intelligent movement, visit them at kinetikiq.com. That's KINETIKIQ.com. You know, I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have Metabolic Elite be one of the sponsors of the Zelos Podcast. You know what makes Metabolic Elite different is their commitment to real results. I've seen a lot of supplements and performance enhancement things over the years, but they pair clinical experience with innovation, like Lipitab, their proprietary solid-state liposomal delivery system. It's a chewable format which enhances absorption, like nutrients like BPC 157 and synapses. They're delivered more efficiently in the body, supporting recovery, focus, cognitive health. Their formulas go beyond the basics, solving performance health challenges at the system level. Every product is tested for quality, it's backed by research, and trusted by athletes and clinicians alike. So learn more at metabolicelite.co. And you can get 10% off all of Metabolic Elite products by entering the coupon code ZELOS, Z-E-L-O-S. Thanks for tuning into the Zelos Podcast. I'm your host, Rocky Snyder. This is all about the pros behind the pros in sports. This week, the S&C coach with the Cincinnati Reds, Dominic Cothern, is joining me. He's been with the Dayton Dragons, the minor league group for the Reds, and we're going to get underway in just a minute. But before we do, remember the Perform Better 3-Day Functional Summit is going to be coming up in just next week, or just next month, I should say, June 18th to the 20th. That'll be in Chicago. Then, Long Beach, California, July 9th to the 11th, and Providence, Rhode Island, August 20th to the 22nd. Go to performbetter.com and check out how you can register for these 3-day events. You don't want to miss out. No matter if you're in the rehab or return to performance end of the spectrum, you'll want to go. Check out my website, rockysnyder.com, for blogs, podcast archives, and we've also got some courses. And for instance, one of the new ones is the posture-based soft tissue mobilization. For 1 hour, you can learn how to discern the best target areas to restore a person to a more balanced place simply by getting them to do a little myofascial release work. Also, we've got a new course that just launched a couple weeks ago, the open and closed chain foot mobilization course. So learn how to mobilize all the joints within the feet, whether it's on the floor or in your hands. Before we get underway, one more thing. Just follow us on Instagram at Rocky_Snyder. Click the subscribe button and enjoy the conversation. Dom, first of all, just to kick it off, thank you for coming on the Zelos Podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure. Now, we have crossed paths before. It was back in November at the NSCA Arizona State Clinic. A good group of people showed up for that, and I kind of felt out of sorts because I was speaking about some things I don't normally talk about. So instead of like the foot or biomechanics, I think it was just about 30 years in the industry. So I don't know how well that was received, but it was good to have you there and good to connect and reconnect here. Give us a little story, if you don't mind, about your career path and how you landed with the Reds organization.
Okay. Career path, I would say, is not usually like everyone else, but kind of like everyone else. So I was an athlete, obviously, growing up all the way until high school, but utilized sports really as a way to connect with others because I was born into a military family. So we moved every 2 to 3 years. So making friends wasn't always the easiest thing to come by. So use sports as an outlet. So it really didn't have the competitive edge, wasn't really there. But sports helped me make friends and connections with other people. taking that into college. Didn't know, like most people, that either exercise science or exercise physiology was a thing, and that you could become a strength and conditioning coach that way. So, like most people, chose physical education to get my undergraduate degree in, and then met one of my mentors who was professor at Winthrop University, Dr. Joni Boyd, who is also on the NSCA board members as well. But she told me about, maybe becoming part of the exercise science department there and diving into that to see whether or not I would like, being an athletic trainer, strength coach, or so on and so what. So did that for a little while also personal training at Gold's Gym while getting my undergraduate degree. Kind of got into that just by being a front desk member, seeing personal training, and thought that was really, really cool, and trying to just utilize the resources like people around me to make those connections and to get into just making people more fit, is what I like to call it at the time, just healthier and reaching their goals. After that, met my now wife, who was getting her graduate degree at Louisiana State University. So I kind of followed her there by doing an internship with strength and conditioning at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Well,
Where I
nice.
had met my first another mentor, Laramie Emmel, who was, he was great. He was super great. He was a super young head strength coach there for their football team, and he kind of just threw me into the fire the first day. Was like, "Hey, you got 100 football players. You got to lead our preparation warm up for today's sprint session." And
That was your first day?
yeah, my first day. First day was dressed in khakis, a collared shirt, didn't know what I was doing. It was unbelievable. So,
Wait, you must remember what it is you did with them.
it wasn't great. It wasn't the best. I remember trying to get the players to just follow me along, and they were like, "You haven't introduced yourself. We don't know who you are. Probably start there." So that was
Right
my first
on.
introduction into strength and conditioning as a whole. It was a great experience. I would say it was a great experience, and that's kind of every time I've had an intern or someone that I've worked with who's starting out to be a strength coach, I always tell them that story because it can be quite anxiety driven to start trying to lead a team full of individuals that are almost your same age. Like when I was 21 and I was teaching and coaching people who were 21, 22. So it was a great experience.
That's great. And so your girlfriend slash fiance slash now wife finished up at LSU, go Tigers,
Yes, sir.
and then how did you? Yeah, where after that? How did you get to Cincinnati?
So COVID hit when I was in my internship at Southern University, but luckily, through my mentor at Southern University, met Matthew Bruce, who was at Catholic and still is at Catholic High School down there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Met him, great mentor, huge Olympic lifting mentor. Uh, a lot of feet in the door through like Tommy Moffitt and a bunch of other big time names down there in Louisiana. Has kind of showed me the ropes again, but with now younger individuals in the high school age. Through him, met a lot of different folks. Luckily, got an internship at the University of South Carolina working with their football team, which that led me to another foot in the door with another person at Alabama A&M University. So that was my first full-time gig and my first gig working with baseball players primarily.
And was that the sport you were really interested in, or was it just something you kind of fell into?
So again, like with everyone else, I first wanted to just dive into all sports and not be married to one. Baseball was always like my true calling, even growing up. Always wanted to be a baseball player. Loved the Cardinals. Hopefully the Reds don't take me against that right now. But always loved the Cardinals growing up. So baseball was my first love. But again, as a strength and conditioning coach, I believe it's pretty important to work with all different teams, and you get a lot of experience working with different patterns, movement patterns. It's just there's a lot of differences between different sports, but you get to create your own coaching ways through that. But yeah, baseball was definitely my first true love.
Right on. Well, You know what I love so far in this story here is you've mentioned now in a very short amount of time the fact that you had three mentors. And I think that's a critical thing in terms of importance. I can't express that enough to in not only having mentors, but mentoring others, like you said,
Absolutely.
your interns. So, you gather it from people that give you an opportunity and then you turn around and I'll say pay it forward, but give it back at the same time. So right on. Okay, so then Alabama A&M baseball full term, full time job, and how did the door open for the Reds organization?
I kind of just reached out there. I saw that there was an opening with the Cincinnati Reds, and I took the chance. Wanted to learn more about baseball and strength and conditioning. Threw my name out there after 2 years of working with the baseball team at Alabama A&M, and my now current boss gave me a call a few days later for an interview.
I love it because it parallels the athlete's path too, right? I mean,
Right,
you got to get in at ground level and work your way up through the ranks, whether it's at AAA, minors, majors. I mean, they don't just throw you into the top dog
right.
position. You've got to
Absolutely.
earn your ranking, so to speak. So, right on. How has this path been for you within the Reds organization without, without throwing you under the bus, and you don't have to name names or anything, but just overall the experience of what you've had over the course of these last 4 years in the organization?
It's been amazing. I love the Cincinnati Reds. Even if one day, hopefully I'm still with them. If I'm not with them, I'll always look back and this would be one of the best experiences I've had. Just the amount of smart people that I'm around that I can learn off of and feed off their knowledge and just the amount of friends that I've made throughout my time here. It's truly been amazing.
Give me an example of how you define that, excellence. Like, is there an event or a situation that sticks out for you that is like one of the pinnacles or highlights at this moment?
I know coming in, especially I think younger strength coaches, and I'm still a very young strength coach, but you always think you know everything. And again, like when I went in for my first internship at Southern University, I thought I knew a lot just because I had that experience of personal training before getting into it. So again, when I got from Alabama A&M to Cincinnati Reds, I thought I knew everything, but instantly I was challenged on not the way, even programming, but speaking to others, coaching to others, cueing to others, how hands-on was I, the amount of knowledge I knew. It's just it was a constant challenge and feedback system loop, and I love it.
Right on. It's always good to be challenged. And yeah, arrogance should be spent on the youth. I mean, no exception in my case either. The younger I was, the more I knew until where I am now. I don't think I know anything,
Right.
which it's a good thing, you know?
Absolutely.
So, okay, let's get into the nitty gritty. Strength coach, you're with the Dayton Dragons right now. How's the season thus far? Early in, but how are you guys doing?
So far, we're doing so good. We have a lot
All
of
right.
young talent on the team. It's just develop, 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 teach.
Well, and I think that's probably one of the best learning environments. I mean, it's great for those that make it up to the majors and they're the head performance coach or head strength coach for whether it's the A's or the Reds or the Astros, whomever. I think where you are, honestly, is the sweetest spot because it is a constant learning of how do I improve these athletes to the greatest degree possible, not just like these little percentages because they haven't reached their full potential yet. You're
Right.
going to be an instrumental part. And your roster, we were talking before we hit the record button, there was one season where half your roster moved up. Like
Absolutely.
that doesn't happen in the majors. I mean, things goes, you get trades and all that, but it's not to the degree that you have to you have to get buy-in with brand new athletes or just the communication skills alone with more athletes moving through your system. I mean, that must be a challenge, is it?
100%. 100% a challenge. But we pride ourselves here with the Cincinnati Reds, especially through the strength and conditioning department and throughout every entire department of that constant communication throughout the departments, and I think we've done a really, really good job, not only here with the Dayton Dragons, but in constant communication with our AA, AAA, High A, and Arizona teams.
Right on. Well, I think I'm gonna pause here for a second because I need to let you know that I appreciate you immensely, but the Cincinnati Reds do not have the best place in my heart, and I'll tell you why. Because when I was 7 years old, 1975, the Boston Red Sox, which are my team because I grew up in New England,
Right.
were going against Johnny Bench and Pete Rose and the whole Cincinnati Reds lineup, and they lost in Game 7, and the Reds won the World Series. And ever since then, for over 50 years now, I have not. The only teams that I hate, really to the degree that I do, New York Yankees, first of all. Yeah, Yankees suck.
Right.
And then the New York Mets, both New York teams, and the
Right.
Mets because of Game 6 and '86. We won't go into that. So anyway, we'll put that off to the side. I respect you and your organization, and it was 50 years in the past, so I shouldn't hold on to it. So I'm going to try and be bigger and move past that. Let's talk about what you're doing with your athletes. I love talking about creating power, like rotational power. And baseball is nothing but rotary athletes with a little bit of linear action thrown in. What How do you create powerful rotary athletes? What are your go-tos?
I think first off, we have a great way of utilizing and implementing various testing that can give us our metrics and who needs what and when. But we try not to overcomplicate these things and make a lot of noise. So, like everyone in every sport, you have to do a needs analysis first and see what we have. Like I said, sometimes I'll have an 18-year-old, and then sometimes I'll have a 26-year-old who went through 5 years of school or college. So first we have to start there and see just what they know, how they move, what kind of implements do we have, where am I at? Am I on the road? Am I at home? Because it's always going to be a game of adjustments. So sometimes we might have our weight room at home, which is a pretty decent size, and sometimes we might go on the road where we have just a space and just our equipment that we brought with us. So we always got to adjust on where we're doing and what we're doing, and that also it comes into play with my programming as well. But with
Dom,
everybody, keep going.
I
Yes,
love
sir.
that. I'm just going to say, I love your answer. You didn't go right to the weight room. You actually are looking at a myriad of elements that come into play. And I didn't try and trap you with that question, but I did want to see where you started. And you didn't let me down, which is great. You got to look at the athlete and the individual and a needs analysis of what their strengths and weaknesses are and what can they improve upon. So right on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just like everybody else, I think I mean, if you want to talk exercises, I mean, you always have your medicine ball throws, your chops, variations, your oblique rotations, isometric holds, eccentrics. But again, what we really focus on is just preparing our athletes first, getting them in good routines and habits throughout the days, because all these players were drafted for a reason. They can produce force and they can produce force fast. So the things we try to tend to focus on here at the Reds is, do you have your preparation routines before going onto the field, before going into the weight room? Do you have recovery modalities that you use post game? How do you sleep? How do you eat? Those are the type of things we try to really focus on, and then the weight room is kind of just a supplement for them.
I love it. This is great. Okay, so let's talk about these ancillary elements that are actually more central to the development of an athlete. Because, like you say, they know their way around the weight room. So, do you, from a physiological standpoint, what kind of screening process do you do with your athletes?
We have multiple screening processes. I won't get too down deep into what we actually use, just per se of what we're
Trade
allowed to
secrets.
say.
I got you.
But we do multiple movement screens to see, range of motion, either passive or active range of motion. So maybe we need to get someone more T-spine rotation, external rotation of the hips, internal, just multiple areas that we can hit with that. we obviously utilize force plates, which give us a plethora of metrics that we can follow, but we tend to focus on just about 4 or 5 metrics. Like everybody else, we have NOR boards, we have dynamometers, we have biomechanists that use Newt force mounds that can tell us how well people are utilizing the ground. We partner with, I'm not going to say the group name, but we partner with somebody that helps us do a kinematic review of sprinting mechanics that can help us out and get our position players, because we pride ourselves here at the Reds of being a very fast team. So we utilize that as much as possible.
That's like markerless motion capture. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Got it. Right on.
Yes, sir. The way we have a plethora
Beautiful.
of testing metrics that we use as tools to help us.
And when it comes to preparation phase, what are you talking about there with your athletes? Because baseball is one of the most superstitious sports around, and I think basketball might be a quick second. Everyone's got a certain way in which they're going to prepare themselves. You know, they've got to touch the bat in a certain place, their hat, and so on. I know that's not really what you're talking about, but it probably comes into play a little bit. Give me an idea of like what you're looking for with preparation phase.
So what we usually do is we'll take what we have seen from our testing that we do, plus our communication with either the hitting departments, athletic trainers, or pitching departments on what players need to work on. And this is kind of where we get more individualized with each individual player, whether they need more shoulder hip separation, which maybe they need more internal rotation or external rotation in the shoulder to help them get to that point. This is where we kind of get more individualized for them in the sport. So we use that each day for each player. Some do have their own routines that they have sought out beforehand, but we try to teach them and maybe sprinkle in some of our stuff in there as well, so they don't feel like they're getting overpowered or told what to do.
Right on. Now, not to get too far out into right field here, but visual acuity and proper tracking is essential in baseball. So, do you guys delve into that much in terms of visual drills, reaction screens, anything of that nature? Do you do any kind of eye tests with your athletes to determine what they need for like a visual stimulation or anything like that?
Those are usually one-offs, but if we suspect of some visual or reactionary problems, either with our hitters or pitchers, we will test them for that, but it's not usually one of our go-tos, no.
Sure. No, I don't think it's become quite mainstream enough. Okay, but any other one-offs, the things that may seem like layered out on the fringe perspective, but you bring in, do you have, I mean, there's the mainstream traditional approaches, and then there's more new age or even the high tech stuff. Do you tap into that much?
I say we try not to get too much into the weeds with it. Again, right now with us in the Reds, we are looking more into foot integration with the ground, because we, again, want to be a very fast team. So we really dive into the foot and ankle. So I would say maybe that would separate us into others and how we approach maybe programming or even programming our speed sessions with our guys.
Well, I could totally geek out for several hours with you on foot and ankle stuff, but I think I've probably uh, said it enough with other podcast episodes. Of my listening audience is going, "Oh, don't bring up the foot, don't bring up the foot." But nonetheless, seeing that you did bring it up, what are you looking into? I mean, how do you incorporate elements of training conditioning with ground reaction considerations, like with the foot and so on?
We usually break it into 2 parts, which is our acceleration phase, either early or late, and then our upright sprinting phases, and whether or not that we are producing enough forces either vertically or horizontally and our impulses to create enough force for the body to handle.
Beautiful. And is
So
that positional? Is that across the spectrum for all your players, or is it more for certain positions than others?
we use it for all position players, and we do still continue to look at it for our pitchers. We think it's still just as important, as they are utilizing just as much of the ground when they pitch as the position players do when they run.
Right on. What's been your biggest learning opportunity, shall we say? I don't say mistakes because I mean we we can never be 100% successful, and it's typically when we aren't as successful as we'd like to be where we learn so much. So for you in the last 4 years here, what's been one of the biggest learning opportunities for you?
I would say just changing the way I think and getting more so off of social media. I think that we
Ah,
tend to see social media and see these cool, like you were saying before, like cooler new age things, and it's just
yes.
it kind of just drives us to like, all right, that is cool. Let's try that. When really, if whether we like it or not, the older stuff still does work. It's not flashy, but it's what we're looking for here, and so I tend to now just try to focus on what the goal is at the end point and work backwards and what I can do to get to that point.
So you say change your way of thinking. Does that
Mhm.
mean that you were following the rabbit down the hole in social media quite a bit, and then you realize that, whoa, wait a minute, I need to back up and go with the basics? Or
I don't think so much as in that aspect. It was just I always had a certain way of either programming my weight room sessions or speed sessions. And like I said before, that I was always challenged by our current director here for the Cincinnati Reds. And I was very just closed off into new ways of thinking about creating either impulse horizontally or vertically, and had my certain aspects that I stuck to, whether and just learning from others that came in, that we brought in to help us learn about these, kind of changed my mind on you have to do certain exercises or certain things to get to that point. I think there's a lot of different ways you can implement various exercises into your programs that still get you there.
yeah, I would attest to that. Now, your programs compared to the major league team are I got to imagine, and you don't have to give me the skinny on it, but I got to imagine they're actually quite different. And the reason being is that one, your games per season are less than major league by about what 50 or 60 games perhaps. You guys have
Uh,
about 80 or 90 games in a season?
We have 132 games in the season, and they have 162. So 30 games left.
Just 30 games.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. Not as much as I was anticipating. But the players that you have in some ways more room for development.
Absolutely.
So that's one aspect. Game schedule being a little bit different, but not all that much. And travel. Do you travel to the same degree they do in terms of time zones, or do you stick primarily to the Midwest?
We stick primarily to the Midwest.
So that's another one that is an element within program design. So, I mean, it would be one thing for strength conditioning coaches for the majors to come down and say, "Here's the program we want the minor league teams to do," but and then have it be just a reflection of what's going on above. But I get a sense that it's not necessarily that way. Like your programs, how do they? I guess I want to ask you to compare and contrast the programs in the minors compared to the programs in the majors.
I think they're very quite similar. Like I said, we are a very communicative department. So any concerns or questions that we have, we always get together. We get together every day, and this is usually done in spring training because we're all there together. But we're usually just, concerned about, do we have what's our primary movement? Are we looking for axial load, no axial load, unilateral, bilateral? frontal plane movement, transverse movement, hamstring, quad, agonist, antagonist, shoulder. They're pretty quite similar. Now, the way in which they schedule it definitely be a lot different than the way we schedule it here because they might have more day games, they might have more night games, they might be traveling a lot more to a different city than us in here. But I think programming, exercise wise, and speed development wise, we're pretty similar.
Okay, cool. So there's not a lot of heavy learning for the athletes as they move up, or
That's the goal.
yeah.
That we're trying to build is we're all on the same page, we're all communicating, and no one's doing something super different. So as the athlete moves through the system, they're comfortable in what they're doing.
And within your program, what element might you say would be the hardest for athletes to buy into?
Tough question. I think really it's down to is not necessarily doing exactly what they want to do. As they come off the off season, they might have their own strength and conditioning coach, private trainer, etc. that we might not necessarily agree upon with the methods that they use in the off season, but trying to adhere or create somewhat of a buy-in or trust into our programming and that we're actually trying to develop them towards the goal of becoming a big leaguer.
We're just going to take a quick pause from this conversation to acknowledge our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. The Zelos Podcast is sponsored by Kinetic IQ, where intelligence meets motion. Kinetic IQ brings a biomechanics lab into the palm of your hand, letting you measure movement anytime, anywhere with just an iPad or iPhone. No wearables required. I've been using Kinetic IQ in my own practice, and whether you're screening athletes, optimizing performance, or guiding return to play, it helps practitioners like us save time, capture more objective data, and make instant actionable decisions. So to learn more about how Kinetic IQ is shaping the future of intelligent movement, visit kinetikiq.com. That's KINETIKIQ.com. At the forefront of metabolic elite is Jim Lavelle, internationally recognized clinical pharmacist, a chief science officer at Lifetime, and the co-chair for the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. He's got over 4 decades of experience and has guided Olympic athletes, professional teams, and leading health institutions. You know what makes Metabolic Elite different is their commitment to real results. Like Lipitab, their proprietary solid-state liposomal delivery system. It's a chewable format which enhances absorption like nutrients like BPC 157 and synapses. They're delivered more efficiently in the body, supporting recovery, focus, cognitive health. Their formulas go beyond the basics, solving performance health challenges at the system level. Every product is tested for quality, it's backed by research, it's trusted by athletes and clinicians alike. And you can get 10% off all of Metabolic Elite products by entering the coupon code ZELOS, ZELOS. Well, that brings an interesting kind of subject up. You've got private trainers in the off season. Now, I've had a few athletes come through Santa Cruz for the summer months and train with me, various sports, and they're from top level teams. And at no point in time was I able to actually communicate with the teams they're coming from. Now, maybe that's a contractual thing and a privacy kind of thing, but you would think that if your athletes are taking the time off and they're going to want to be training, it would be good to communicate with the trainers that are working with them. So, man, I got some long-winded kind of build-ups to questions for you. I apologize. But are there times where maybe you guys open up at the beginning of the season or at the end of the season, like an opportunity for all of your players, private trainers, to connect with you and your staff? Is there any kind of communication between the private sector and your stakeholders on your team?
Absolutely. So whenever we we communicate with our guys on a weekly basis. Anyone that sought out outside training, whether it be private or just going to a commercial gym, whatever or not, if they had a person they were going to work with, we always sent out a form that listed off what their current metrics were, what our current goals for them were, how we were going to sought out to continue to reach these goals. And then we always listed our emails and phone numbers for our contact information, and made sure to tell the players that we would like to be in contact with their permission to reach out to, per se, trainer or private strength and conditioning coach.
Wow, very good. Well, I'm gonna uh, have you share that information with a few sports teams that I haven't worked with that I should have, or maybe they just don't like me. I don't know what the situation is, but that's good to hear that you're actually communicating with their trainers and coaches. Um, Brilliant. You are what now? We're about a month and a half into the season right now.
Right.
What's your primary objective? Obviously, mitigating injury is up there, reducing the likelihood, and so on, improving performance. But like at this stage in the season, what are your prime objectives?
Like you said, it's kind of still early. We have 5 months left. So
Yeah.
honestly, right now, what I've done the most of is teaching. Teaching these guys, like I mentioned before, daily habits, daily routines. And it's tough because a lot of these kids don't, we travel a lot, so we're in hotels a lot. So sleeping, eating, and eating the right foods, not door dashing all the time, not Uber eating all the time. Just teaching them how to handle this type of environment and conditions is what mainly we focus on in the beginning months.
So how is that done? By email blurbs, by handouts, by just one-on-one talking with them? Do you take them down to the restaurant in the lobby? I mean, what are some ways that you do that? Because I think it's great that you start off the season and reinforce it so that patterns and habits get solidified, especially as the season gets underway.
Right. Me, myself and the players, they might get tired of me a little bit, but we are in a constant communication. We talk pretty much every single day. I see them the most out of probably everyone that's on the staff, whether or not be like you said, in the lobby. They're going to be in the weight room every day, getting their preparation work done. If not, we will have one-on-one conversations on what the importance of either a preparation routine or recovery routine is. I'm on the field with them before the game, but during practice, during the game, after the game. We're at the same hotel. We eat together. I mean, we're always together.
Right on. Okay, so it's not like you're the mother hen necessarily, but they're listening to you. And what's the trickiest part about establishing these habits? Would you say, is it the DoorDash or is it something else?
I think it's just being able to communicate and know each individual player. Everyone is different. Like I said, we have guys that are 4 years of college. We have guys that are 18 that are from the Dominican Republic, and this is their first time in the United States. We have guys that don't like the weight room at all. They just want to either pitch or hit and get out. It's just you got to know every individual by themselves and who they are. And once you create that trust between the two, that's when you'll start to see the differences.
Beautiful. Now, do you guys have like a nutritionist? Do you have a team kitchen or meals that are prepped, or even just energy snacks for them? Like, how does it work within on your team?
Right. We do have a registered dietitian. We have two of them actually. One that primarily sees the Dominican, Arizona, um, and low A, and then we'll have another one that oversees high A and up. She's been very great. She's always in constant communication with us, whether it be email, Zoom, coming here every so 1 week or every month or so. She's always in constant communication. She sends and buys our meals and sends that out every week, and we talk together about what certain goals are for people, whether increase skeletal muscle mass, decrease body fat percentage, what types of foods can help them do this supplements wise. We're always in constant communication about this.
And what are your favorite recipes from her?
Uh, my
You got
favorite
to have a meal or two.
steak. I love a good filet.
Steak. Uh, excellent. And
Right.
energy snacks, anything like that?
Yes, we all every affiliate, whether we're where we're at, they're provided certain snacks that they have to have per team. So she provides this information to them, and we'll have that, and I'll provide and put that out for the players, whether it be pregame or during the game.
Nice. All right. Tell me about post game. Do you do post game lifts?
As of right now, it depends. It depends on whether or not it's a day game, which we've only had one so far, and it was a double header, so we did not do a post game lift that day. And then we usually play night game, so we usually get our lifts in beforehand,
Okay. You
but not
on
opposed
the
to
road. Sorry?
it. But not opposed to it.
You're not opposed to it. Okay. Pre-game lifts. What about that? Just like activation
Yeah, all the time.
all the time. Okay.
Yes, sir,
Just
all the
wanted
time.
to figure out where it stood. You travel quite a bit, and with that traveling, you have no idea sometimes the hotels that you're going to be in and what kind of facilities you're going to be um, having them work out in and train in. So you've got your own tool bag. I know you do. You've got a go bag. What's in your go bag for
We have a lot
training?
of stuff. We have a lot of stuff. So we have
Really?
we have two trunks that we usually bring, one for exercise equipment and then one for nutrition supplements that we bring as well. But primarily what I always keep on me is we have our power blocks, our
Cool. What do they go up to?
adjustable dumbbells that are go up to 95 pounds.
Okay.
Plenty of weight that we can utilize. I'll bring kettlebells,
All right.
bands, and medicine balls.
Perfect.
Sir,
Everything you need.
right there.
And then recovery and regen. What are your go-tos when it comes to that?
So we utilize most active BFR recovery.
Oh yeah. Okay. And
We
so arm and leg cuffs.
yes.
I tried the neck cuff, and the neck cuff just didn't seem to work. I kept passing out. Just kidding. Um, anyway, so and then what's your basic approach with BFR? Just minimal, like 5 or 10 or maybe 15% of the RM and high reps, that kind of thing.
We utilize it mostly. I'm not going to give away everything, but we use a
Sure.
bike with it.
Okay.
We usually put them on the legs, bike, and then our pitchers will do a little arm flush with the BFR afterwards after they pitch. And we'll also utilize it with some weights. But like I said, I'm not going to dive too deep into that one.
Yeah. But I think it's a game changer. BFR,
Definitely.
it's a great way to recover and to not put excessive load on the articulations in rehab and transferring onto RTP. I think it's just been one of the best tools that has come up in the last 15, 20 years or whatever. And more research has proven the point too. Um, what about hyperbaric chambers or contrast baths or do a lot of stuff with that? I mean, you can't really do it too much on the road unless you happen to luck out with a place that has a cold plunge and a sauna or hot tub or whatever. But
So
um,
everywhere we usually go, and especially when we have hot and cold tubs, we'll have our BFR units, our bikes. We'll do some active recovery, whether it be come with me and we'll do some mobility, some passive stretching, some active stretching, or we'll utilize any other type of modality that we have on site, whether it be Normatec boots or Normatec arms. We have quite a few modalities that players can utilize.
right on. Talk to me a little bit about mental skills development. Sports psychology, I guess, is what it had been called in the past, and then they're kind of getting around that. And do you take that on yourself because uh, the number of people that are on your staff? Like, where does mental skill preparation come into play? Is that in your wheelhouse or someone else's?
So we do have a department for mental performance, and they're great. They again, constant communication, and if we ever need or think we need like their help with some either an individual player or a group of players, we'll contact them first, and they can kind of give us a rundown and maybe not what to say, but how to go about on speaking with the group. But on a day-to-day basis in communication, I will be the point of contact for that.
Beautiful. So, Dom, you've been doing this a while, whether it's in the pros or college. You've built up enough experience, and now you've worked with a number of amazing professionals on the team. Not the athletes so much, which are amazing in themselves, but more the ones behind the scenes, athletic trainers, physical therapists, the team docs, and mental performance and dietitians, and so on. Like, is there a spot that's missing? In your humble opinion, is there a role that could be either addressed by somebody that's an expert in that one element, or you know what I'm getting at? Because if you look back, like 20 years ago, we didn't have all of these different stakeholders make up the team. And one by one, things start happening. Mental performance. Now you got a dietitian, but you've also got a nutritionist. And then you've got this person and that person. So what's next on the list? Is it a sleep coach? Is it, what is it? A stress management? I'm just curious.
Right. I think as you get into professional sports, that you start to see that everyone wants the upper advantage, and how do we win? How do we win? How do we make these players the best as we can? So every team, every organization is going to be different. I'm not going to say it's always based on money, but it is based on the resources that you have available to you and what you can afford. I don't know what would be next. There's a lot of departments already currently that we have, and that what I've seen. Hopefully it won't be too much more, because I do like continuing to have my job. Hopefully mine doesn't keep getting broken down.
Nice. Well, the one thing we haven't really talked about is the emergence of AI and how we can capitalize on that. Yet it's a kind of a tricky topic too. And I won't ask for specifics, but are you having some type of integration with AI into your workplace or within what you're doing with the team?
I haven't really utilized it all too much. The only time I've ever used it was maybe when I was putting together a presentation uh, for my group on some continuing education stuff. But other than that, I haven't delved into that at all.
I hear you. Okay.
Well, I
Well,
will say I did build one weight room for fun using AI at one time. That was pretty
uh,
neat.
and and did you actually build it out based on that, or was it just a kind of a curious thing to see what they
Right.
would do?
It was just a
I got
project
you.
for myself.
Okay. Okay. Well, how about this? I've got 10 questions that are kind of rapid fire put together. Are you up for that?
Sure. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. Here we go. Strength or mobility? What gets neglected more in baseball?
Strength,
In season training or off season development? Which matters more?
off-season development,
One lift every baseball player should master.
trap bar deadlift,
Oh, all right. Most overrated training trend right now.
rotational power.
Oh, just throw me under the bus there. That's good. I like that. What breaks down first in a long season, the body or the mindset?
Mindset,
Velocity or durability? Which wins long term?
durability,
Uh, how about this? One thing young players do too much of.
chase, search.
Ah, okay. I thought you were going to say be on their phone, but that could be there too.
That'd be a good one too. That'd be a good one.
Recovery, sleep or no nutrition, which has the bigger impact?
Sleep,
If time is limited, what's your go-to training focus?
speed,
One word that defines a player who makes it to the big leagues.
prepared.
Nice. And that's what we've been talking about all this time is how you're preparing your players. So,
Sir,
uh, how many guys went up to the big show last season with you?
I've had total of throughout my career, 4 years here. I think I've had four guys that have made it to the big leagues so far.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
And wow, man, what a great world. What a great place to play and work. And it's
Absolutely.
actually not work when you love what you do. You can't call it work, right? So
Blessing.
where are your eyes? I mean, you already mentioned foot, ankle. Are there other places that your curious eye is focused on right now that you can share with me?
Honestly, it's the reason I chose baseball is just because the complexity of the joints that we utilize and focus on the most are so complex, like the shoulder, the elbow, and the integration between every different body part that integrates into the shoulder and elbow. It's always complex, and that's kind of why I got into it. Is just the challenge to continue learning about the two.
Right on. Okay, so Dominic, if we want to follow your escapades, if we want to learn from you, do you do? You've kind of slowed down on the social media, you said, but do you post on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook? Well, you're too young for Facebook, but you know what I'm saying.
Really, I mean, I have an Instagram. Like I said, I don't post very much, but I'm on there. I think it's just my first name dot last name, so Dominic dot Cothern. But you're not gonna see much out of there other than maybe a lot of pictures of my daughter. That might be it.
That's beautiful. Well, maybe I'll go there just to see that too. Now, if you mentioned interns earlier, is there openings, or if there's someone listening right now that'd be like, man, I would love to follow up an internship. Do you guys have applications for that? And if so, how do they do that?
Currently, we don't, but if anyone ever wants to reach out, I've always had people reach out to me on my LinkedIn page about so. We do internships every year. Prior to the season, usually we start looking, I would say, early January. So
Beautiful.
if anyone's interested early January, you could always contact me either via LinkedIn or Instagram.
Right on. Well, I got to say, this has been a fun conversation, and honestly, it's really a pleasure to converse with passionate people, and you emanate that quite well. So, thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
That brings this episode of the Zelos Podcast to an end. I want to thank Dominic and the Reds organization for allowing this to take place. Remember, you need to go to performbetter.com, sign up for the 3-day functional training summit. Whether it's Chicago in June, Long Beach in July, or Providence, Rhode Island in August, you'll want to sign up for at least one of them. Great presenters, great networking opportunity, and a whole bunch more. Be sure to follow me on rockysnyder.com. Check out the courses that I have right now if you need continuing education or you're just curious. You're also able to sign up for some online consulting, mentorship, or whatever you need. I'm happy to help. Until next time, we're going to listen to our valued sponsors one last time, but get out there and make it a great week. Remember to check out metabolicelite.co. Check out all the products they have on their website. Synapsin Pro is something I've been using to help stay focused without having to over-caffeinate myself. It keeps me in the zone so I can just really hone in on the things I need to achieve without feeling like, man, I gotta reach for an energy drink every 5 minutes. Metabolicelite.co. And don't forget, Kinetic IQ. They've got markerless motion capture for morons like me. I can use their product with my iPhone or my iPad. I can look at posture analysis, movement analysis of any exercise, gait analysis. It gives me everything I could possibly want when tracking people's movements. So, check out kinetikiq.com.